He's already conceded. Says that Mayor Washington has won control of the city council in a clean sweep of the 2 runoff elections. In the 26th ward, Verdoliak believes the mayor's candidate, Luis Gutierrez, is the victor over Manuel Torres. You see the current vote totals there on the screen. In the 15th ward, the mayor's candidate, Marlene Carter, appears to have beaten the incumbent alderman, Frank Brady, which means the votes in the city council will now be split 25 to 25 between the mayor's forces and Verdoliak's forces, and the mayor will now cast a tie-breaking vote, therefore taking the reins of power in the council for the first time since he was elected.
26th ward, with a race between Washington supporter Luis Gutierrez and regular Democrat Manuel Torres, was expected to be a toss-up, but the latest vote totals, as we go to the screen, 75% of the precincts in, and you can see Mr. Gutierrez leading 54% to Torres 46%. Now, the other race for alderman was not expected to be much of a contest. The 15th ward election pitted Marlene Carter, running with a strong backing of Mayor Washington, against incumbent alderman Frank Brady. Carter was supposed to win it in a walk, and the latest numbers show 85% of the precincts in, and Brady is trailing Carter 67% to 33%.
We'll go now to Brian Rooney, who is standing by with one of our minicams with a statement from Ed Verdoliak. Brian.
Walter, it was pretty grim at Democratic headquarters all night long, and here at the Bismarck, where they were to have been issuing statements, there was no one to appear. Ed Verdoliak issued a written statement about an hour ago, has not appeared in front of the cameras. I'll read part of that statement to you now. He congratulates Carter and Gutierrez, and he says, the mayor has achieved his goal of 25 votes in the city council. We have always maintained that we were the loyal opposition and will remain so. We stand ready to work with him and his council supporters on programs that will benefit and move the city ahead. But we reserve the right to disagree with him when he is wrong. Walter, I suspect that this did not come as a surprise to them. They issued this statement somewhat early in the evening. They might have been able to issue it even several days ago after they had all met with their ward captains. I can't confirm that, but I do suspect that's true.
Well,
Walter,
they
Bill?
led us to believe that the absentee votes were going to put Mr. Torres in the lead. Do they think that, is there a sentiment out there that perhaps they're a little premature?
Bill, I think that they can see that the margin is going to be enough that probably the absentee ballots are just not a factor in that almost in a sense they were getting blown out, and they knew it.
Did Ed Verdoliak tell you he'd be there at some time or another tonight, or should we just give up on that?
Ed Verdoliak did not say anything directly to a reporter tonight, Walter, so
Mike
your
Flannery?
guess is as good as mine. The podium is empty behind me, and I think it's going to remain that way.
And we'll turn to Mike Flannery, who is sitting right here and ready to talk. I'm not surprised that Ed Verdoliak's not there. This is a crushing blow. I mean, as
Walter,
chairman of the party, his reputation is kaput.
Walter, absolutely. Ed Verdoliak is a big loser tonight, but you know, when you go back and you look over the past couple of years, since he became party chairman, he has lost all of the big ones. There is scarcely a victory that he can point to. The only victories have come in the city council with other politicians when he was able to organize the council against Harold Washington in the wake of that election. In fact, it now appears that Ed Verdoliak has in many ways been Harold Washington's secret weapon. It's good for the mayor to be able to run against Verdoliak, apparently. And, you know, the mayor knows that. I've talked to some of his people tonight. They're eager to keep the scapegoats in place of those committees. They're not going to go after those committee chairmanships right away.
Right.
They know they're going to face a legal battle anyway. But he's running for mayor again in 8 months. He'd be happy to be able to run against those committee chairmanships that are still in place.
We'll get into some more of this in just a minute, but we do have reporters all over the city tonight with our mini cams. We go to the 26th ward now, to Phil Ponce and Jim Avila, beginning with Ponce at the headquarters of, where are you? Torres or Gutierrez?
Manuel Torres, I believe. Phil Ponce, can you hear us?
Yes, he can.
I'm at Northwest Hall, which is right across the street from Torres headquarters. This was supposed to be a crowded victory celebration, but as you can see, there's no celebration going on and there's not much of a crowd. Just a few minutes ago, Manuel Torres gave an angry, defiant speech. In spite of the results, Torres said he is not a beaten man. Instead, he gave an impassioned speech to his supporters.
As you know, it's been one of the most dirtiest campaigns in this city's history. It's been one of the most bitterest campaigns in this city history. But you know what? We're not going to be intimidated, not by no goons from the 5th floor of City Hall, and not from no goons, and not no, that's right, and not no goons who plant palm trees on Division Streets. What I like to say is that we can look each voter in the eye and feel good about it at night. But I'm sure my opponent cannot look the voters in the eye and feel good about it at night. And tonight, I am not going to concede a damn thing.
So Torres says, as the ward committeeman, he will be working in the next 10 months to do what he was unable to do tonight. He blasted the mayor, and he blasted the tactics used by his opponent in winning this campaign. Torres' campaign workers say they will look at the results, try to figure out what went wrong, and go back at this in 10 more months. Jim Avila standing by live at Gutierrez headquarters with a live report. Jim, the mood must be a lot different over there.
Bill, as you might expect, it is quite different. People here are waiting for their candidate to show up. They've been cheering, and several cheers, including Long Live Harold and Goodbye Eddie is one of the more favorite cheers that's been going on here tonight. It has been a long, bitter, and sometimes dirty campaign here in the 26th Ward. Luis Gutierrez thought he won the election the first time on March 18th. Tonight, he actually heard a concession from Manuel Torres. That's what is new here tonight. There have been celebrations all night long on the Division Street in the 26th Ward. Chants of Long Live Harold filled the ward, and also Louis Louis. And as the votes begin to be counted in campaign headquarters tonight on Division Street, all night long, Gutierrez led by hundreds of votes. Eventually, the news came that Torres was actually conceding, and the campaign manager, Ben Reyes, said this cautious victory statement for his candidate, Luis Gutierrez.
We have a reasonable margin. We appreciate Mr. Torres for conceding the elections early. We're trying to verify the numbers. We understand there's a few precincts that still have some problems. We like to make sure all our numbers are intact, but we feel real good at this moment.
The crowd now here live at Lemoyne in California is being told that Manuel Torres has conceded. They've watched the statement that it came on television just a few moments ago. They are still waiting for the candidate, Luis Gutierrez, to come into the room. When he does, Bill and Walter will return to you. Bill?
Thank you, Jim. Let us know. We'll pop back down there, but we're not through yet. All the votes tonight are being recorded at the Chicago Board of Election Commissioners, and they are not coming in at the same rate. Robin Robinson is standing by there live at the board with a report that in the 26th Ward, the challenges to some balance are slowing down the count. Right, Robin?
Bill, a world of difference between the counting of votes in the 26th and the 15th Ward. An hour and 45 minutes after the poll closed in the 15th Ward, they had 16 precincts counted. The 26th Ward had only 3 precincts reporting at that time. The rest didn't really start coming in until about 9:15 tonight. Still much slower than the 15th Ward over in the 26th Ward because, as election officials told us, there were many more challenges to ballots by poll watchers from both parties, and also from both candidates, and also from independent voters group, which were hanging up the ceiling of the ballot boxes. Actually, election officials were thinking that they might be hung up for much of the night, so it could have been worse than it actually was. It couldn't, of course, have been much worse for Mr. Torres. He only led for just a few minutes this evening, and that by only about 4 votes. Though everyone here was surprised at 9:30, Bill and Walter, when Mr. Verdoliak conceded the race. Even the veteran election watchers here thought it was a bit too close to call at that time.
Well, maybe even Luis Gutierrez. Let's go back to the 26th, where Jim Avila is standing by, perhaps with a victory speech. Jim?
Bill, Luis Gutierrez has just entered the room. He is up on the podium. There's a lot of people in between us and him, but he has not yet begun to speak. We're trying to get people down in front. You might see him just at the top of his head there. He has just come into the room. His supporters, of course, greeted him with a large round of applause and cheers. They're now imploring people to get down so that the rest of Chicago can hear his victory speech, a speech that has been awaited since March 18th for Luis Gutierrez, who believes that he won the first time, and today has confirmed that he did win. Let's go back up to the podium now and see if we can see. As you might imagine, people are getting a chance to cheer for him. Standing next to Luis Gutierrez, just to the right there, is Alderman Garcia, who was just one of the recently elected people. Also in the crowd today, along with is Marty Oberman, has been here all evening. Alderman Bobby Rush has been here. That, again, once again, is the top of Gutierrez's head, and he's beginning to speak.
Well, Jim, to say this was hard fought is an understatement. Let's hear what he has to say.
Belongs. Please. This victory